just in time for tomorrow night's debate, Donald Trump now saying today that he will vote in favor of Florida's ballot measure to legalize recreational marijuana. This is an issue for Donald Trump because he's a Florida resident. He's going to vote there. Trump said in a post that as president, he would focus on research to unlock marijuana's medical uses and work with Congress to pass common sense laws on the issue. Now, as for Kamala Harris, as a senator back then in 2019, she introduced a bill to decriminalize marijuana, despite being a tough-on-crime prosecutor in her prior job as an attorney general in California. Her campaign has criticized Trump for what they call his quote-unquote brazen flip-flop on the issue. Now, here's what the former president is voting for in Florida, along with millions of Floridians. The ballot measure could legalize recreational marijuana use in the state and allow adults to purchase from licensed dispensaries. Now, the measure there in Florida specifically needs 60% of the vote to pass. All right, so here's the look of sort of where things are across the country. You see all the states in green. Those are states in which it is legal right now for recreational and medical use. So you can kind of break this up into 3 geographic areas, right? Out west, it's basically the entire West, or a good portion of it. Then you got about half or so of the Midwest, and then you go up to the Northeast, and you got, again, a substantial portion of the Northeast where that's the case. Where it's not the case is basically in the middle and down into the South. The yellow that was on that was where medical was. Now, Florida's not the only state that is going to have marijuana and cannabis in some form or another on the ballot. Both of the Dakotas, North Dakota, South Dakota, they'll be voting on issues there, potentially in Nebraska, depending on how things shake out, Arkansas as well. Of course, Florida, by the way, in 3 different cities in the state of Texas, including Dallas, there will be local measures there as well. Now, if the government actually, if this passes, right, you pay taxes on things you buy. So we were looking into how much these states are actually getting in revenue, tax revenue, from cannabis. According to the Tax Foundation, it was about $3.3 billion in 2022. Nationwide, if there was nationwide legalization, it could generate some $8.5 billion annually. So that's sort of where some of this stands right now, as we try to figure out, but really as we await what's going on in the state of Florida, Donald Trump making his move on this. It kind of feels like, Ashley, that this is just where things are moving. And as it relates to Washington, one of the big issues is, because it's still illegal federally, though legal at the states, how do you account for all the banking? Because this is a cash business right now.
Absolutely, and we need to pass a federal banking bill, which has been in the Senate bipartisan for actually 3 years now.
So why doesn't it pass?
More. Because there's still conservative states that people don't think that it should be legalized. But I think because of the election, I think this horse has left the building, or whatever the
barn, maybe.
Barn a long time ago. This is gay marriage in 2024, 25, 26 in regards to states doing it. It's a done deal, and we need to have a banking law.
There is
federal banking law, and we need to move it from being criminalized to decriminalized.
But there is this dichotomy, right? Because it's still illegal federally, but legal at the state level.
In about 43 states. But here's the thing. But here's the thing, whether it's medical or recreational, is that these marijuana distributors and growers still have to pay taxes, whether their business is legal or illegal. It's in the tax code. And so the whole banking issue, they bank their funds with non-traditional banking means, right? You're losing the tax revenue if you don't legalize it. And this dichotomy between states and the federal, and by the way, the Biden administration has reduced it to, I think, a level 1 illegal drug. But both sides have got to get on the same page. Unfortunately, I don't think both sides are going to get on the same page until you got Dems in the White House, the House, and the Senate. And God forbid Republicans.
Well, that's what you're hoping for.
It'll never happen.
Does Donald Trump move this way, or is it like, is Ashley right?
No, I'm not. I agree with Ashley that this is the way things are moving. And President Trump has, his brand was not, for most of his life, social conservative. He's a New Yorker. He understands that. He is not a firebrand against that kind of thing. Not that he's ever used it.
What happens real quick when Donald Trump says to Kamala Harris tomorrow night, but as a prosecutor, and he goes after her.
I think Kamala Harris will say, well, look at what you did when you were president of the United States. When you were president, you strengthened and you locked up a lot of black people for marijuana, like you did. And he also flip-flopped on this issue, much like he flip-flopped on abortion in Florida. When it's on the ballot, there's another ballot measure that's really important to the outcome there. And he's completely been on either side. Democrats going to hammer him for it.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.